Where were we? We were talking about the loops, right? So we had while loop. Wait, okay, that's for loop. So we were talking about the while loop. Let's quickly do handle that. So uh, last time we stopped at the introduction of for loop, right? So basically, remember if you want to set a break so that the loop will not go on forever for the while loop, then what you want to do here is to introduce a break line. Okay, so if you don't do that, then it's possible that basically the loop will just continue forever. All right, so now for loop is going to be really similar. So basically, for here is the reserved term uh, in terms of syntax, and then it's going to be a variable that you specify right here. Let me move this. The variable that you specify right here, and then in is reserved. And you're basically checking whether the variable here is within the sequence that follows, okay? So for instance, here, there's an example, you can say I, where that I is just going to be the variable that's just treated as the index of your loop. Okay, so basically the sequence here is gonna right here is enclosed in the square brackets. That's basically the list of numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way. So basically from 0 to 5, that's 6 numbers. So that tells you essentially that this loop will go for 6 times. Okay, where I goes from 0 all the way up to 5. And then, of course, remember that the colon is always critical, okay? And then finally, for the code block underneath, if you want the interpreter to read it as a block, then the indentation matters, okay? So this cell right here, you guys can run on your own notebook, but basically it just prints I times 4, or 4 times I. So when I is 0, that's the first iteration. That will give you 4 times 0, which is 0 as an integer. Here, I here is exactly an integer, okay? Int type. And then 4 multiply that, it still gives you an int. So it prints a 0, okay? Um, and of course, if you're saying I'm gonna print, you can change your code and see if it works in that way. If it's 4.0 times 1 times I, then it's gonna give you a double. Okay, it would give you a decimal number. And of course, for I equals to finally at 5, then you're essentially at 4 times 5, which is 20. So that's as expected. But here you do see that in terms of for loop, you have sort of like a cap of the number of iterations that it will run, right? So earlier when we have while, basically the after so for the while line, as long as the Boolean expression is true, then the while loop will just continue to run. But then for here, basically, your sequence always is finite, so it's always going to be a finite number of iterations. Okay, but let's say if you have 1 million of data that you want to run through, then that number could be huge, right? So, or like 1 billion. So that's a finite number, but it can still take time. So now, instead of writing everything in terms of like explicitly listed sequence here, what's more convenient is that you use the range function. So this is very important. Okay, so this is a really typical usage of defining an array or a sequence. So basically, you have 3 parameters. They are all integer. Okay, so the inputs here, they are all int. The start, the stop, and the step. So essentially, you are kind of constructing what's called a arithmetic progression. So it's just it will be a bunch of terms. You will have a start term. You will have the upper bound, okay, which is the stop, and then the step is basically how much you want to progress. Okay, this is sort of like arithmetic progression. So that basically at every time the increment is the step, okay, which is the same. So the start goes here, and then the step will be the increment every time. And then this expression, this common expression here, whenever it surpasses the stop value or whenever it equals to stop value, that thing will not be included. So this value will not be in the list. If you ever run exactly at the stop or if you go past stop. So let's say for this the range from with input 0, 6, and 2. So what does it mean? The start is 0. The increment is 2. So the next number is going to be 2 as expected. And then there's 4. And then do we include 6? Actually, no, because the stop value is that where you just stop. Okay. So 6 is not included here. Okay. So this is very special. So now if you think about the range where you go from 0 to 5 and with a step 2, then that's gonna do exactly the same thing, although the stop value is different. Okay. So that also gives you 2, 0, 2, 4, and then now 5 is a stop. So now that the next number in the sequence, in the progression, is actually going to be a 6, which is exceeding 5. Okay. Still, it will not be included. So the values that will be displayed, they're all strictly less than the stop value. Okay. So these are strictly less than stop. And what's commonly seen in here. So the next code cell. So you can run it on your device as well. But that can be done efficiently. But basically, when you are doing for I in range 0, 5, and 2, then essentially you're doing this. Okay, you're saying if you're doing the looping while, then essentially you're saying my start is 0, my stop is 5, and you want the index to be strictly less than stop. And here, every time you are increasing your index by 2. Okay, so if you're writing in a while loop, then it's gonna give you it's gonna require a few lines. But instead, if you're just writing for, then it's just going to be for I in range from 0 to 5 with increment 2. So that's in a way a little bit more condensed. Okay, you don't really need that many lines. So that's the difference between for and while. All right. So here this is one line. So here you need this one. So you do need to set up start and stop, and you also need to do this kind of increment. Okay, that's in additional lines. So you can see that if you do have a specific number of iterations that you have in mind, then you can think about just writing the for loop directly. But then if there are certain conditions you want to be satisfied when you execute some operation, then you would prefer while. Okay. So all right. So that's about that. So yeah, let's see. Let's go to the node class. Well, Jupyter node. Okay, Jupyter notebook. Where is it? So we are actually looking at this, right? So let's run this. That's what we expect. What we expect to see is the 4 multiples of the I values, right? If I want to, so what's a little bit cumbersome is that of course if you want to sketch skip values, that's totally fine if you are explicitly writing the list. but basically everything that's listed here will be multiplied by the 4, right? So of course, if you want to jump from 6 to 9, that's kind of convenient if you indeed list everything. But now in terms of the range, then it's going to be that progression that you're coding in a sense. So so yeah, that's as expected. If you want to do the same thing for the while loop, then you do need a little bit additional lines to formulate. Um, okay, more on range. Wait. Oh, I see. On the Zoom, I didn't really share that screen. So let's come back. So range, do we need to put all 3 arguments every time? Actually, no. So you can abbreviate, okay, in certain ways. So if you only keep A and B, 2 arguments, that's just saying I'm keeping the step value as default to be 1. Okay, so here default is that the step is 1. Um, so every time it will be running the consequent integers from A all the way to B minus 1. Okay, so it will not include B. So and if you even just get 1 input here, so let's say range of 100, then that will give you just 100 consequent integers starting from 0 all the way to 99. So basically, if you say, okay, I want a billion iterations on, let's say, cardinality of 1 million data, then you simply could just say range of 1 million. And that should be good. But just remember that those numbers are sort of starting from 0. Okay, so that's special in the Python environment. So from 0 to 99. Okay, so this is 100 minus 1. Right. Um, okay, so those are the examples that you can definitely run on your side. That's really straightforward. Um, Understanding argument evaluation. Oh, yeah, this is actually very interesting. So now we know the loop, right? So let's see. Uh, Here we read this a few lines and basically understand actually at least what it means in English, okay, in our mind. But then if you really want to understand it in the Python interpreter point of view, then it's a little bit not that simple. So this is actually one of the live coding exercises that you need to do. So we're gonna leave it for later. But here, what does it do? So if you're just looking at the code, basically it just says, okay, firstly, I assign x to be 4. Okay, so I assign the integer value 4 to x. And then it says, okay, I have index j. It will be in range x, right? But then you nest another level of for loop that's saying my index I also is in the range of x. Okay, so now if you think about this, right? If you are saying a range of 4, that's actually what? That's actually 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So you start at 0, ending at 4 minus 1, and the increment is 1. So that's that. But now notice in the most inner layer, you print the I value, and also you're saying my x has to be 2. So this is saying now in the inner step, I replace the x value. So I change it, right, by sort of updating the memory. So now if I run this, then essentially what's going to be the output when these 2 layer loops are finished? Or you can run this, and an easy way is to see what the output looks like. Okay, and then explain why that's the output. So that's something that's actually in the live coding exercise for lecture 2. So we're gonna do that in a few minutes. So this is actually a very interesting exercise. So if I were giving you a quiz question, I probably will give you something similar to this for you to think about. Okay, actually, why the code runs in that way, or lets you predict what kind of output it will be. Okay, just pretending yourself to be like a Python interpreter. So okay, so here we are providing you the output. Okay, so if you run this, you will see the output also like this. So you have 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 0, 1, and then 0, 1, and 0, 1. So here, so the explanation part, I'm gonna let you guys discuss for a few minutes, and then we talk about that. So now let's pretend that's gonna be handled later. So now, using a string to iterate over. Okay, so now notice as a string is considered as a sequence. So here, if I have the string Oompa Loompa, and then I print I for all I in this string, then essentially it's going to be treating this string as a sequence, and then just print every character within the string. And you do realize that there's a space, right? A space is also considered as a character, okay, as a string. So essentially, you're gonna print all these um, all these elements of the list. Okay, so this is a string have natural structure of a list. Okay, and if you let's say if you want to sum all these values, uh, all these integral values within the string, you can sort of do a for loop, right? So basically, read through the list for every integer in the string. You'd want to convert it to an integral value. Okay, so this is the typecasting again to integer. So now, basically, you just read character 0, character 1, character 0, character 1, character 1, character 0. So basically, it's reading it, but every time you want to convert the character into the scalar value so that it can be accumulated, right? So that's something you need to keep in mind. Um, if you are reading off a string, then it's always going to be a string, and then you would need to do the conversion. Um, Finger exercise 3 version 2. So this is another question that you're gonna see in the live coding notebook. So this is saying, okay, I have a bunch of I have a string. It's gonna be composed by decimal values separated by either separated by commas, right? So if that's the case, then basically whenever you read a comma, you would want to discard it for the things between two commas, or for the things that's after the last one. You would want them to be decimal numbers that you want to add, right? So then here this if you're running through this kind of string, then you would say, okay, um, for the things that I would want to accumulate, right? So here, let's say I'm reading off 1.5 comma, and then okay, comma here, that tells you that's not going to be included in the decimal, but 1.5, they need to be included in one decimal number. All right, so you would somehow need to think about, okay, how am I gonna put them together and translate it to a float, right? And then 6.4 is something I want to also include as another float. And then finally, 3.8, I want to include it in another float. And finally, I want to add them up, right? And of course, you can also think about adding along the way, right? You can keep a copy of the temporary sum, and then every time, whenever you get a decimal number that's ready to add, then you just add it. That's a task that you want to think about the writing the data. So
right? And I mean in the float.
Actually, what we circled right here is a string. It's just a bunch of characters. So if you so basically when Python reads it, it just reads one period 5 comma 6 period 4 comma 3 period 8, and there's nothing meaningful in the mathematical sense. And then you would want to say, okay, I treat the commas as separation, but I treat the periods as dots. So basically you're saying, okay, for all the things before a comma, I want to put them together as a shorter string, but then I'll convert it to a float. So yeah, that's something sort of like what you would want to do, right? But then basically for those like 1 period 5, I want to add them in a sense of string. So now it becomes a longer string, which is uh, like the string for a decimal, and then you convert to a decimal. Right? Very good question. So that's something you would want to realize in your code. Yeah. So that's basically all the things we need to discuss for lecture 2. Okay. So yeah. So now we can turn to uh, the live coding part. So share Jupyter Notebook. Well, so that's the browser. We are now. If you guys have the laptops with you, you guys can start playing with lecture 1 live exercises. Yeah, int, float, boolean, none. So these are the types that we have played with. So yeah, so you guys can start from here. And if you're looking at the lecture 2 exercises, then yeah, this is explaining that a few lines of code. Why does it give you this kind of output, right? Writing a function that converts Fahrenheit to Celsius. Wait. Oh, interesting. Yeah, well, yeah. So yeah, at the end of the live coding section, we're gonna play with that conversion question. So yeah, you guys can start playing and discussing with within the group. So we have what we have. Currently we have 9 students. So ideally, if everyone is gonna be here, then we can form like 3 groups, three in a group. But now we have 7. Yeah. So yeah, so you guys form groups up to your choice. Yes.
Because your practical question. So
Yes.
it won't let me, when I scanned it, it's telling me I need a bypass code for IT desk and scan the QR code for attendance.
Yes. Could you show me?
Yeah. The same thing kind of happens whenever I try to sign into my email. It just refuses.
Yeah. Okay.
Take me to all of this.
Right. Exactly.
And then it tells me that.
Let's try other options. Do you have left?
And then it goes back to bypass code or managed devices. Like that, it says verify your identity. I don't know what to do for them.
So, do you have this application? DUO.
No, I
Oh,
don't.
you have, okay, you haven't actually, okay, that's, let me try to find some instructions for you. Basically, yeah,
Yeah.
if you were to use your phone to
This.
log on to
Or after
the school system, possibly it will pop up something like this.
What was the reason?
Let me try.
Because it's assigning it for the four, but then it's reassigning it after I read it. But then it's within the same code block as the four.
Let's try looking at it.
Worst case scenario, I'm just gonna turn behind us, because I have somebody, I mean, that's not true.
Oh, see, if you remove, okay, let's. For J and range I, when I would be 0, 1, 2, 3, right? That would be a short. And now, for I in the range, it will be. You would assume it's 4 times. Yeah. It's 4, so it's kind of confusing.
Is it doing it 3 times because range does things b minus 1 times? That's what I'm assuming. I'm thinking that it does
Saying-
range of 4, and then it does the range of 2 3 times because it's underneath, it's still within a code block of range 4.
Yeah.
And things 4 do things 4 minus 1 times.
So until the I reaches there, it will be running.
Whatever you're asking.
The second one, until the I reaches. So for.
You probably want to try.
Go ahead.
That's what I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah, that's on the screen right there. So try search for this page.
Okay.
You can see it. You can see it here. So let me.
Yeah, it's not there.
Yeah.
Iterate.
So basically, here is the application that's called DUO in App Store or in, depending on the device.
Do I just download that?
Yeah. That's a security app.
Oh,
So it's a two-step authorization, just verifying your identity.
okay.
Yeah. So
That's
once you have that, then
No, download the app that just says.
enroll your mobile device while using a non-mobile device.
Decimal times, I'm sure plus something.
Who knows this formula?
Like,
Yeah.
No, I've got this. Integration maybe. So I told her mine, you all need to give it because I think you will be.
Probably need to do it from
the temperature minus 32 times 5 knots. Okay. Yeah. So. And I have to be able to but 49, like those degrees. That's the one of the questions.
I think I've got it now, Professor Simply.
Yeah, it requires a little bit of work.
Yeah,
Yes,
just
yeah.
a little. All right, there we go. I got into it.
Okay,
So I
nice.
figured it out going through the dashboard portal and everything.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
do need to start from your your own device first, and then
Yeah, the device should be set up, but all right, so your response was meant now.
Okay, good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, in the future, it's gonna be the same thing. It's just gonna be a QR code, and then you scan it.
Yeah,
That will lead you to the form.
thank you.
Yeah. And how about running the notebooks?
Running the notebooks. What I was doing last night, filled out Lecture Live 1 and 2, but I didn't download them, so they didn't save. I was just using, I was downloading just a raw file and then just adding it myself through here. Am I allowed to do that?
Does it ask you or?
Yeah, so just think about how I did this thing once. Programming DS, there we go, add file. Upload file.
Oh, okay. This is your fork. Okay. But it's just uploads the file, but then it does not execute because GitHub doesn't automatically execute files.
I was able to access it so I could execute them last night. But now I don't seem to be able to do that. Yeah, but
So how do you usually run Python?
well, in the last class, he had us just join the Jupyter link. You know, we downloaded this like VPN thing to access it on private computers. But here, I also have in another Python class I'm in, I have the Anaconda prompt down or
I see a Jupyter. Wait,
Anaconda Navigator. That is just so then I can access put in the UAlbany code to access Professor his name, but the AMAT 302 professor's Jupyter notebooks. Yeah, it was like his own loophole of doing it. I'm not quite sure. Well, I do have this once it'll open up, and I can access Jupyter notebooks this way as well, which I'm doing in my AMAT 560 class.
Oh, 560. 560 is for what?
Stochastic processing one.
Oh, stochastic. Okay. They have a coding as well?
Yeah, so then you can run the models for like the distribution functions. So it's actually very neat. And I can open up a Jupyter notebook this way. I'll hit launch and you can take me.
Yeah, well, yeah, if you are doing a yeah, it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, but once you have it open, it works.
Okay.
Yeah, and then here we go.
Yay. Wow. You got it.
This takes a second to, of course.
Oh, okay, that's local host. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it'll run like that, and I can create a new notebook and I can import every one of these files.
I see,
Right,
I see, I see, I see.
Is that okay if I do it that way?
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Another option is, as I mentioned, is what's it collab? So yeah, this is basically the local your local execution loop, or that's your local environment is built upon a code that's totally fine.
Okay.
I would say, yeah, the way that I do right now here is that basically associating Google Colab to my Google Drive. So basically, I can update the files from the Google Drive, and then it will be yeah. So let me show you what I mean. So let's say we now continue to lecture 3. That's just a file in my Google Drive, and then I double click. As long as it's associated to the Colab, then it will be opened by that. And then whatever I change, it will be actually saved on the cloud. So it will be updated in real time.
Space.
So let me say a program is a combination of definitions and commands. And then I close it. It's already sort of saved on the cloud. So
Okay.
and whenever I need to execute something, I just do just run the code from
Just
here.
run the code from there.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I use this, or would you prefer if I move to the?
Either way is fine, but that takes you a little bit of time every time that you want to start the procedure.
Yeah, every time you want to start the procedure or open
Yeah.
up a different file, it takes a minute to load.
Yeah, so that's not that efficient when I look at them. So of course you feel free to do whatever you want, but my recommendation here is that you can try Colab when you are working on homework or trying to check if the code runs.
Okay,
Yeah, but
and where would I go to download Colab?
no, you don't. That's everything's online here. So do you have a Google account, Gmail address?
Yeah, I've got a Gmail account.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if I go Google Colab, just right in the search bar.
Colab. Yeah, that's good. That's good enough. Yeah, you can.
Look at that.
Just sign up.
Open.
Maybe
Looks
this.
That's your okay. That's I think that's your account.
Yeah, this is on my personal, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be through my Albany EDU.
Doesn't have. That's my personal. So I don't think Albany has Google accounts.
No, it's all Microsoft.
67 degrees.
So then, now that I'm on here, I can save it right to my Google Drive and everything. And just like I see what you sent, or
That's another class, right?
yeah, that was the ANAT 302 I was previously.
You probably want to check out what you need to do to directly associate. But what you can do right here is to let's say open. Yeah, you can open on anything or yeah, you can try that. I haven't tried that before, but
If I go unit 1, lecture 1 with.
yeah, you can download that and then yeah, since you have the fork, then you can download from your side. That's also the thing.
Oh,
Words maybe that's on, yeah. And. Please.
Weird. What has the temperature leaf side?
yeah, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, let's try again and see what it does
So
if you allow it to leave.
Okay, so let me just cancel this.
Kind of weird.
Yeah.
So you can actually,
I just use the function. Oh, because I have to make sure they can input five.
whatever. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so
that
you
gives-
just gotta hit leave and.
Yeah, you would so the old one is something like a kind of a local file, but here now this is something that's uploaded to your Colab. So that shows it's online.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Alrighty, thank you.
And let's say you want to execute, yeah. So this is a question
That's
that
the question
you
one,
can
so-
add your markdown answers, but let's say yeah. Yeah, okay. Indeed it looks like you do have the experience on that, so shouldn't be too bad.
So one would be in multiples of three, how your says.
I was gonna do like a 2x plus 1.
That's one too. Yeah, that's one of the things. You do it plus one. Yeah,
Okay.
so you know what to do.
So it's positive integers, input, enter 5 positive integers, so I was gonna make them have to input 5 positive integers, but then.
Yeah, try and
Okay, so then I want to define. So I want to define.
And yeah, you need to yeah, select one. This one, yeah, that's recommended. Let's go.
So if which is x equals.
Well, that's the thing is, it's passed into a 5.
Will
so
we
it's
start
also
or
just
just
it's
stop here?
X, it's, I'm gonna do A, and A, B, C, D, E.
We're trying to stop.
Because when we did largest of 3, it was X, Y, Z.
Yeah, let's try that.
Yeah, no, so what I did is assign this as x. So I can do two x's.
Yeah, this
If x equals two x plus one.
let's try restart.
No, what we
Yeah,
We can give it a look at it.
but then this
Well,
one
okay.
and see if it counts. Yeah, well, you need this some kind of solution.
Well, maybe it's up here.
Yeah, well, yeah, try to say whatever, do whatever. Yeah, try to-
Okay.
That's the input and individual. What's the well, yeah, let's try one movie. Please, yeah, also, yeah, so basically, yeah, the thing's fine, it's just that the input cell, this is the active, sort of like interactive cell. That yeah, it will ask you to give some input, but it's on the top, so yeah, that's why. Yeah. It's a little bit different on VS Code, so.
Oh, it's if else, if this equals odd, print x, like else, print the message next.
But that's just printing if it's odd, but not the biggest odd. So that's why I feel like it has to be nested ifs, because first we have to pick out only the odds, and then we have to say, if it's odd,
If,
then it needs to also be biggest.
yeah, you're right.
So then it's like if x equals 2x plus 1, and then
Else.
nested. No, nested within that is another if, isn't it?
Can do.
Because it isn't.
Why
We
can't
don't
we
want-
do just if, else, if, else, and else? Else, these three. You put first as an odd, second as a biggest odd, else.
That's what I'm saying, is right here is where we're doing odd, and then I'm doing a nested if to do the biggest.
Let's do that. Let's do these. Let's do this.
Yeah, just be reminded that homework 0 is due, I think, the day after tomorrow. Yeah, so but this is a really simple one. Okay, so problem set 1 is due next week. Wait, February the 11th is when? Yeah, next Wednesday. But I think our plan is that we're gonna do quiz 1 also on Wednesday. So yeah, I'm planning on getting that ready. But yeah, well, the homework is like this. Okay, part of the things are already in the live coding part.
Okay. Yes, you have to. The calculation was very. You haven't gone over that, so I don't know. It's really very. They both are the same way, so.
That's good. Uh, yeah, well, if you're done with that part, you can think about working on homework. You can homework on the one that's due soon. Next week. Yeah, problem 7.
There's this function called max. Okay.
They have learned that, so I was trying to do what I knew instead of Googling.
Yeah, try something that's more related to doing from scratch. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Max is indeed convenient, but
This is like.
there's certain things that may not be applicable, so you have to write it yourself.
I'm gonna have to fix some things, but I think this is like how the if else statements would go.
That's cute. How is that? Is that?
It's in the whole base. I think it's
Ah, I see.
It's well, maybe the.
That's always a do that one. I'm just looking at what we did last class and.
No, you're right. How did you do that?
Yeah, okay. I thought it will go away when I zoom in, but yeah, I just learned it from one of our students there. So basically, you just do this. There's a kitty mode. Yeah.
Oh, oh my god, you picked crab mode over corgi mode, whatever.
Okay, let's try that.
Oh my.
Okay, that's interesting. That's pretty interesting.
That's amazing.
Wait.
Okay, let me try crab.
Settings, miscellaneous, and then I'm gonna pick whatever makes you happy. I think I'm gonna go. You can select more than one.
Yeah.
You can select them.
Where is it?
Oh, yes, you go crazy.
These are the set, and then.
That's pretty easy.
No, it's only on this. Isn't it? Not, I thought it's a feature for Google.
No, it's a feature for Toll
Eyes.
Okay, shops. Okay, so I think.
So for me, from my brain, it seems easier to write this as contribution, so that's when you can step. And try to get it right in front of it. Maybe like access all of the images.
I think probably don't want to call it. And, okay, what's the question about?
So,
Oh, get the largest.
it seems easier to write this as a function, at least for me. Like, that's how I would approach it. Rather than just doing a series of inputs.
You were talking about what is.
Like, it would be easier to write this as a defined function. At least for me, plus one, that you say, how do you make this into a function? That seems easier to me than writing. Just sort of input.
Oh, so you are asked to, let's say it's logical fact, let's say you need 10 integers to feed input, right? And then what it says is, okay, value loop that runs for 10 times, and then each time it asks for a different integer. So that's kind of like the first part. And then based on that, then think about the way to get a largest from those inputs.
Oh, so you want us to make a function based on. Our original, not just a function in itself. So that would be beautiful at this time. Solution?
Actually, you can try to be creative. Think about the way. Firstly, let's make it work. Yeah. But now you have a loop, right? You have a loop. Let's say running in times, asking within the universe. You can incorporate storing the largest from within the loop. That's one way, right? Or you can say. Another way of thinking about this is okay, I store whatever numbers that I have as like sequences, but we haven't discussed it yet. But once you store that, then you can now work on the sequence to make the sequence the input, which is also an option.
Oh.
But still, once you have that sequence, you still need to think about a way that you capture the largest art from, let's say, running giving the sequence of paths. It's running the sequence for once. So yeah, that's something you definitely first think about the way that it work. And then improve from which one. So not all algorithms The problem here is like the input is a string, not an integer. So yeah. Okay. What do you do? So int was. Oh, I see. Hmm. So what's happening here is now every time you have a number, so what you did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so every time like 1 is that numbers, then 2 is the numbers, it's being replaced. Um, Here you probably don't have to make a list, so you don't really need to store every number. So you just need to get the one largest, right? That's the way.
Yeah.
And then now the problem here is that now every time this is just a number, just a scalar, so you cannot really write a loop in that sense. So that's not yet an array that we established. So yeah, think about like keeping a temporary value. Let's say we start with a 0. And if the number is odd and larger than that temporary value, you replace it. If it's not larger, then you can just keep it the same way. Then you don't really need to store anything. And that's an option. Oh. You can play with problem set 1. That's even longer, but part of the version already.
Unfinished problems that won't be able to look.
Oh, you're done.
No, I think so. Those are, I didn't mean to. What's up?
Yes.
Alright, sneaking. So here I define what is one, and then I store the value if it's odd, and then.
Okay, that's a little bit unexpected. So what you want to do, so how do you decide whether a number is odd or not?
This function.
What this does is you multiply 2 to the x value and
Yeah.
1, and then update it to x.
Not take.
Yeah, this is the sign in the right hand side 2x, which is a little bit weird. And now if you want to it's odd number, right? This is kind of like a modulus. You divide by 2 to get the remainder and see if it's 1 or 0. So that's the double that's another operation. That's the percentage operation that you want. Wait.
Or how do I say multiple?
Then divide by 3 to see if the remainder is 1. So the modulus operation. This is
Double slash?
this one. So if you want to do double slash, that's giving you the quotient, but you still want to subtract the copy and get so that which is why they have this system, right? Okay, so that's that, and you want to check if it's 1. Right? So you need 2 equals on the. You want to see if this is true. Basically, this is saying if this modulus 2, if you were equal to 1, then I need colon. And now I need to update, right? But now notice for the cell, you would want the indent to be further. Okay, now I update the largest number. Oh yeah, but now here, if I were reading it as an interpreter perspective, I would say this largest number, you probably want to define some value before. Because now here, for whatever x value, it will be fed into largest number. only if it's odd. So yeah, let's try running.
But for largest number equals X, for if it is one for the first loop, define largest number of X more than, let's say, largest number, the first loop would not return it first time.
This line is a bit odd because whenever you say that, right, that means you are trying to define a function. But that's something you probably don't want to do right now. Because it's not really okay, let me just comment it instead of just deleting. Then let me control switch. Oh, switch. Oh, good. So that let's try defining the value first. So try say largest number here is, let's set it to be 0. No, you don't need to define it, you just assign the value. So
X.
largest number equals equals 0. Okay, so now basically, if that thing is odd and positive, right, then you would assign an odd value. Wait, and also here, before assigning, right, check if it's larger than. If this is true and
if the largest number is more than X.
right. So yeah, you should include that and.
This,
No. Just say and, because you have two conditions.
sorry, can you do and? Just type and.
Yeah. Before code. Just type and largest number greater than X. Oh, wait, less than X.
Largest should be greater than X.
Should be
Oh,
X. X is larger. When X is larger, I update it to X. Right. So yeah, whenever the number here exceeds my temporary value, I still paste that down right here for that's the update. You still need the update.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, once you write this and then try executing the code, because now you have, yeah, try and see what happens.
Thank you.
I know that it's wrong, I just don't know how to get it to be on without doing 2x plus 1. Like to let some things on, I think about it being 2 times the number plus 1 being true. That doesn't make sense here, but I don't know how else.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. So, which question? Which one is it?
The third one?
Question 3. Oh, question 3. Okay. Wait. Oh, that's this. Okay.
Some people, now I'm better. I would love to just see the problem be the problem. I see the problem, I stare at the problem, I get
You
an error
just
code.
started. Be a little patient, you'll be.
I'm going to be immediately good at everything, duh.
So X equals input value, enter number, and I
Don't hear that stuff. I'm trying to put in code. It's things like this, where it's like, I know how to define an odd number in algebra. And is it being defined the same way here?
If you wrote the folder the way you would write it, you would work with a lot.
Yeah, let's try this. So here, this percentage mark is the remainder after the division. Let's try this. Yeah, it runs for some time. Yeah, it says connecting. Let's enter 31. So basically that's what it does. Okay. So that's this is something always try to if you don't know how to do it, then try asking the internet. Yeah, these are well-established functions. That's always going to be helpful. So yeah, so if you're doing double slash, that's getting the quotient out of the division.
Do like enter the 5 numbers, check if it's on, and then compare.
Oh
'Cause I
yeah,
wanna compare them.
you need to
I
do a
don't
loop
wanna
for
check
that.
if it's off.
So yeah,
I don't know how to compare two things.
this is exactly what I'm kind of asking you to do in the problem, because basically you need 4 I in range 5. Yes, so let's say 7. So basically you need 7 numbers, but you also perhaps you want to know which one you're at, right? So x equal to enter the
I thought that range was just for listing. Like, it would just list 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, no. Yes, stop.
enter the 7th number, a positive integer. I mean, these things are printed so that you eventually, yeah, there's something wrong with the code. I don't know what. Oh yeah, that's the quote. That's the quotation. It has to be consistent quotation. And then once I have that, so these are, if it's odd, I do something, and I need to align it in a nice way. So I update temp equals to x, right? So let's see what this does. So let's make it a 4. So I don't really need that many numbers there. Here, add 1. So basically, what you are changing is to make your output and execution looks reasonable, so that later you can refer back to it. Okay. So here I'm making it. Okay, the first integer is 3. The second one is a 5. The third one is a 4. The fifth one is a 1. But now it doesn't give me anything. So now let me see what the temporary value is. Oh, there's no value. Okay, so I want to store if it's larger than temporary, and if temp is less than x, and let me get a temporary value. So basically, I need to keep a copy of a number, and if it's larger, then I update. But I only need to update the odd number, and I also want to print. After the loop is done, print the largest odd among So here I want to make a number of numbers that I want to include so that I can print it later. I need give it, let's say 3, 6, 8, 7. Right. So 3, 3, 6, 8, 7. Here looks like the 7 is reasonable. So basically what I do here is okay, for the number of numbers that I'm asking, so every time every loop it will ask input, but then only when the input is odd and when it's larger than my temporary value, then I replace, okay, you erase the old temporary with the new. And finally, the print is at the after the loop is executed, so it will be printed out. But here, so um, so the else here, if you want to put an else right here, then it doesn't really help you because basically it just says if it doesn't happen, then I do not do anything. So I don't do anything.
I put in, say, all even numbers, then it should.
Right.
take a
Very
string.
good question. Yes, I do need some if condition right here. But the condition is that if everything's even, what happens, right? So let's try that and see what's gonna be wrong. So let's say 2, 2, 4, 6. So you notice that the temporary value here is not updated at all, right? So here I can include that condition right here. So if temporary equals 0. Yeah, so which is why I'm giving a 0 right here. So here the legal inputs are all positive integers. So if I have a 0 as the reserved value, if it will not touched at all, then all the numbers are that you input are even numbers, right? So I can try this. So 4, 6, 8, 0. And here, this is where I need an if else statement because now I do notice that even though I want this, but this thing is printed, right? So I would want to say else I print this. And I want to make the alignment reasonable. So that should work. So yeah, it's like for whatever issue that you encounter, let's make it a 3 so that it's a little bit not as lengthy. 4, 8, 22. Okay, no integer was entered. Okay. So if temp is updated, it tells you what? It tells you it must be an odd number that must be larger than 0. So I will be at the else scenario. Okay. So that's basically what you are thinking about here. But then this is not a function, right? Why? Because you don't have a set of inputs and you don't have uh return outputs. So if I were asking you to write it as a function, then I would say, now think about what the input is. There could be no input for function, right? So when you define a function, let's say check get the largest R. but that function doesn't have to have inputs. But then there will be inner parameters. Let's say the temporary value, the number of values that you want to the number of inputs that you want. Right? Those could be inner parameters, local parameters. But then here you're printing the values. You're not returning anything. So when for function for the return, you can say this is the return. Yeah, this one is the return, right? So you want to return the temporary value as your largest odd. But when there's no odd, then you return non-type, something like that, right? So that's what it says when basically this is a procedure that it's executable, but it's not a reasonable function. Later, if you want to have like a small subroutine that tells you some information about data, then you would want that to be callable. So if I want to write a reusable identifier of all numbers, right? So I would make it a reasonable thing to be callable in the future. So that's when we ask you to write it as a function. Yeah. How would you make it into a function? Then I would say, yeah. Let me not make the change to the block here. So here I want to let you guys know how you add code cells and the text cell. So if you want to get a text cell, that's actually a markdown. So below is a code cell, and then I do want to delete that. If I want to write this as function, what do I do? So I would say define the function, find odd. Here I do not really need any input, right? But I can say I can put this as the input. So how many inputs do I need? That could be a parameter, right? So I can set this to be 3. That can be utilizing the let me think. So yeah, I don't really need that. So everything below I can I want to make them correctly indented. Okay. Further. So that's my function. Let's see. I want to find odd. Okay, I'm giving a number of okay, so find odd 3. Okay, so that should be a reasonable calling of the function, and then make sure that I return something. Okay, so here instead of printing it, let me also say return temp. Here I'll return non-type. Make sure that if you are trying to write a reserved expression, then make sure that's reserved. Wait. Probably I don't need this. Let's see. It looks like, okay, something like this. Oh, yeah, there's always something you need to watch out for. So when you define a function, make sure that it's this colon there. Um, 4, 4, 8. No integer was entered. And print the type. Yeah, that's okay. So yeah, for the code, it's really the way that you write the code. It's think about why the interpreter is interpreted in that way. So basically, I had find out three, and then I have type find out three. Then actually, the function is called twice. So I had 446. Then it doesn't really give any reasonable output. It just printed this line, right? But once this is printed, then it tells you the next line will be executed. So the type is gonna be none. So yeah, so none type is that. So yeah. And then when you have uh then you call the type of your output, that's exactly the non type. Uh, wait, does the class stop here?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, well, you guys are free to be dismissed, but basically today we do want you guys to be able to execute your code, and then um yeah, indeed, we do have, relatively speaking, more experienced coders. So that's then you're free to proceed to coming up lectures, okay, for other notebooks and other exercises. But if you're not that experienced, you do need to play with these uh, live coding tasks and ask questions. And well, for Python, it's actually a well-established language, so there's a lot of resources online, but you do need to play with these coding to get more proficient. Okay, so let me stop the recording.